Hello and welcome to this BB Education cutting tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to take you through a simple and classic but always current haircut, the elongated bob or triangular line. This haircut talks about how to seamlessly control the direction or flow of a line starting from the center nape all the way through to the front. The lessons within this tutorial will be very useful in helping you diagnose where to start your bobs and why, and how to control how your line expands forward. The mapping process is very simple. We've opted to work on a side parting. So from the side or the recession, we've worked directly back to the center nape. Now as we want the front to expand longer, given as a triangular line, we need to create a more concave shape in the back. This ensures that whilst we go short in the center, we expand longer to the outskirts. If we kept a more flatter cutting line, especially with the head down, this will expand forward, giving us a more receding line going forward. Essentially, what that means is when the head's pulled up, the hair will be too short. This will be a problem for us. We need to make sure that we're cutting the hair exactly how the gravity will pull it. So moving the head is essential. If we kept the head forward, the hair itself would be swinging away from our cut line. You see, we want to be making sure that our triangular line works off the jawline. So you see, if we want it to be longer, the more concave the hairline at the back has to be. The less concave it is, the less the expansion of length travelling forward. So let's repeat that. Here you'll see we're grooming the hair down to a 0 elevation through the comb, and we're working in a soft curved line. What you'll notice here is that whilst the comb is holding the hair, the comb remains flat and does not twist the hair towards the cutting line. This means that you'd be using over direction to try to create your concave shape. We're not going to do that. So again, you can see here, this is expanding longer forward due to the fact that we have a more exaggerated concave hairline. The less concave, the less length travels forward. The more concave, the more exaggerated the lengths. Now starting from the center, we work outwards. Mirror the other side. Ensure we have precision and balance. Check this afterwards and visually assess it through a mirror. So here you can see our result. Now the reason we work to 0 elevation through the comb is the lower the elevation, the stronger the outline. So if the elevation is lifted at all, the outline will look softer. We take a neck section, roughly a centimetre thick, enabling us to still see our guide very clearly. Groom the head down to the same elevation and we'll begin to cut. We'll do the same on the other side and we'll do exactly the same process, knitting the guideline together with a new section on a 0 elevation. But notice that I'm only cutting with the tip of my scissor here. We're just taking very small amounts of hair off at each interval. The reason for this is it enables us to create a more curved line. If we were cutting straight across and cutting into the hair quite a lot, what you'll notice is that would end up having a more squarer effect here due to the fact that our blades are in fact a straight line. So to enable us to create a more curved line here, using the very tip of our scissor and moving round enables us to almost refine our baseline in. We continue this process by taking another section, once again knitting it in the same elevation, so joining the guideline to the section above at the 0 elevation through the comb. We'll then be cutting our same line, which is the curved concave line. Remember the rules here, we only want to use the tip of the scissor as this enables us to create a more curved line, whereas cutting straight through and taking a lot of hair in the scissor at once will give a more straighter effect to the line. The other thing we want to do is to make sure we're not working with too much tension, which is why we're not combing the hair flat to the neck and cutting against the surface of the skin. This is absolutely fine, you're free to do so. But in my experience, I found that there's a lot more refining to do when the hair is dry due to the use of tension, stretching the hair and stretching the skin. Here you'll see again, a small amount of hair each time enables me to maintain my precision. Maintain a square body position to your section, ensuring you have full control of what the roots are doing, as we don't want any over direction. So you see once again, just displaying that we're only using the tip of our scissor, almost like a refining technique to create our line, as this will enable us to create a more curved feel to our line. Cutting straight through the hair, allowing the scissors to really bite down on the hair, so to speak, will create a more hexagon feel to our line. You'll be creating corners, which means you'll have more work to do when it comes to refining. Whereas this method will create a more curved, natural feel to our line, accentuating the neckline and accentuating the length travelling forward. Some of the biggest mistakes that can happen are if the head position isn't moved upright when you come to the sides and you cut the sides with the head length forward, there's a big risk of you losing length, as you'll be over directing the hair forward off its natural base due to the position of the head. So the head position needs to be moved so that gravity is almost working as a tool for us, holding the hair in position. So now our section has expanded into the side, which means working over the ear. The shape of the section, it will mirror the shape of the line. So ensure your section is travelling at the angle you want the length to increase at. We start from the centre nape and work all the way forward to the front, one side at a time. We then repeat this on the other side, enabling us to gain control and balance. Again, note the head position being moved, ensuring that gravity is holding the hair to the point where I could almost cut without the comb, because gravity is holding the hair in position for me. Now when I hold the hair like this, I need to tap above the ear and below the ear and above the comb. Now they all help, because tapping above and below the ear is about tension, as the hair is being stretched over the ear. But tapping above the comb is about lowering the elevation back to a zero elevation. As we take our final section, we ensure the tension is managed once again by lifting the hair very slightly with the scissor, ensuring that we're not stretching the hair around the ear as we pull down. Double check your work, as often I have a tendency to leave the front a little longer to be safe. So just go through and recheck your work at the end, and you'll have a more clear perspective when there's only a small amount of hair to come off to maintain the precision of your line. We repeat this process on the opposite side, taking our section to mirror, but remember, dampen the hair if necessary. It's important that whatever we did on one side, we do on the other. So if you notice that the hair is slightly dried, do maintain the same levels of moisture. This will enable us to maintain consistency in our tension and helping us to maintain consistency in our overall shape. Now here we come back to the ear again. So you see my sections are mirrored. I tap above the ear, I tap below the ear, my comb is parallel to the section I've taken, and I cut my line. As I work towards the front, I make sure, if anything, I use less tension in this area than others. I often find that the hairline, the hair is more sparse, the hair is more subjectable and weaker to lift. Once we have completed both sides, now this gives us the chance to assess our balance. It is vital at this moment that we do check our balance, running directly from the centre nape to the front, ensuring we do have both sides cut to the same length. Using the mirror is a great tool for helping to achieve this. We now take down our subsequent sections and cut in exactly the same way. Be very mindful of tension. Tension is a huge asset to ensuring we get everything to sit looking balanced on the natural fall. If we've stretched the hair in an artificial manner, this will show when it's dry, meaning that the line will not be fluid as it travels from the centre nape to the front. Again, tap above the ear, below the ear and above the comb. Tapping above and below the ear is about the tension, and above the comb is about the elevation. Now, as we're on a side parting, as you get higher up, you'll realise that you finish one side before the other. This is just because our section or parting is pulled further off the middle of the head onto the other side, meaning that you're going to end up having to finish one side later than the other. So don't worry if this is the case, just work through, and as you get towards your final sections, I advise that you cut totally freehand. I find that the very last sections tend to jump more than the sections beneath. What does this mean? It means that when we comb it down and cut it with the same tension we have the rest, I feel this often contributes towards getting graduation in our line, whereas cutting the final section freehand, when there's no downforce or no pressure on the roots of the final section, keeping it from expanding, I feel this really helps to get real precision and control as the hair sits to its natural fall. So as you see me finishing off these two final sections, you'll see I am cutting them different. I'm cutting them without my comb. I groom the hair down to the natural fall. I maintain the head position in a more neutral position with the client that's looking forward, and I simply join them two together. I go through now and groom my final section over to the natural fall, and I'll do the same thing. I will simply work freehand to place it in. This ensures that we have more control over the natural fall, how hair will look when gravity grabs it. This is the finished result prior to blow drying. We have a beautiful horseshoe section, working higher at the back, longer at the front. This expands to give us a triangular line, or expanded line, meaning it's short at the back and rapidly longer towards the front. So now we come to blow dry. We're going to dry with a wrap drying technique, ensuring we get full control of the root area using a 9-row vest brush. We'll be wrapping the hair around the head, stretching it, getting full control of the root area, then using a bevel and a folding technique on the ends of the hair to ensure that we get some smoothness on the mid-lengths and a very natural finish to the ends of the hair. Here you see me just allowing the hair to cool in the brush while still turning it under to give a natural beveled feel. Here we have the end result having not been refined. You can see the edges don't look that natural. The haircut looks a little bit cardboard. We need to go through and refine the line, remove graduation, and ensure we have a consistency to our end result. The first thing we're doing is looking underneath the line. Here you'll see I'm using a pointing technique, using the very tip of my scissor to cut underneath the line, removing graduation, but also ensuring that we take away the small amounts of hair that are keeping the line from looking natural. You can almost see that the little joins from where we've worked connecting the back into the front, etc. These techniques really help to soften and ensure the whole haircut has continuity. Be sure to check your line from different angles using the mirror. Allow your eyes to adjust and see what changes in your line, then simply remove the inconsistencies. As you work round, you'll start to see the graduation underneath your line. I usually use club cutting to remove this. Club cutting is where I cut straight across with my scissors. It helps me to remove a lot of hair at once. Once I've done this and I'm happy with the line, I would then go through and start with my pointing technique again, as this is a huge component in making the line sit natural. As all these little triangles we're doing when we're cutting into the line, they help to collapse the line and make it sit more natural. This is a process, and to be honest, it does take a little bit of time to get perfect, but the more you do it, the faster you'll get at it. But it is a process that needs doing. It ensures that no matter how our client moves, no matter how the client dries their hair, the line will sit looking neat. Here you'll see me just lightly misting the hair with a hairspray. This helps to remove any flyaway pieces of the hair, helping us to create a more picture perfect end result for our clients. We work round, working from the front to the other front, ensuring that we go through removing any graduation and any harshness or anything that looks overly structured with a line. Whilst yes, we should have a straight line, often this line looks a little bit jagged and needs to be sharpened and ensured that we are really knitting together all of the previous sections to one point. We use natural fall to decide where this point is. I've placed a small clip in the side that is on the side parting, just to help hold the hair to more natural fall. I groom the hair in a variety of ways and keep checking the hair, as it will feel at some points every time you comb the hair, some more hair will appear. The objective is you keep doing this until no more hair appears. So you just keep combing everything down to your line, going and reassessing, pointing and club cutting until no more hair drops down. Again, using the hairspray to really help perfect and finish your shape, giving a more picture perfect quality to our end result for our clients. So here we have our line, working from a center nape with a concave line, expanding forward with a more expanded trajectory of our line. We'll go through with our finishing touches, constantly checking and refine our work from different angles, ensuring we do have the correct end result for our clients. Be patient with this. It is worth taking the time on. And here we have our finished result, a triangular line, an A-line bob with a more expanded end result finish, ensuring we go from a shorter position in the center nape to a longer position at the front, controlled by the degree of concave in our center nape first baseline section. And this completes today's tutorial, our triangular line tutorial, helping you to know how to map out and control the expansion of length working from the center nape all the way to the front. We hope you've enjoyed it and we'd like to thank you again for watching. See you soon.